Hello and welcome back to the Gloves Off, Helmets On podcast. Today we are here with the Saudi Arabia race rankings. It was a good race for a number of reasons. Very interesting. Obviously we have a new leader in the championship.
Yeah, we do.
Which is the first time an Australian has led for 15 years.
That's crazy.
Quite cool.
I know.
Yeah. Obviously we've got a couple of things to get into before we do the race rankings. So kick us away.
Both coming from the Aston Martin side of the grid. And Stroll actually has a new record this week.
He does.
Which is such a great record. Everyone had won it. It is the most amount of times that you haven't made out of Q1, which is, I think it's 75?
Yeah,
I might be wrong.
That's a lot of Q1 exits.
Yeah, and what did he say about it? I think he got embarrassed.
He said something. He threw a shot at the McLarens and said something like, "Oh, if they had the same, they was in the Sauber, they'd be out. They'd have the same amount." I don't know. It's a bit weird actually. No correlation to Aston Martin, but there you go.
Yeah. I don't know, it's like he's just looking for sort of a scapegoat for an excuse.
Yeah.
As well as McLaren, obviously a couple of weeks ago, Lando Norris was very much on the fact like, oh, the car's fine, it's the same as everyone else's, it's equal. And then Piastri got interviewed after this Jeddah race, and he very much said, well, obviously we're a lot faster than everyone else.
He made him look stupid, really.
Yeah, so it's a bit awkward. So you can just see little tiny like snags of tension that aren't just adding up quite much with McLaren.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to Aston Martin. They've actually put out a little deal, which is a ridiculous amount of money. £264 million for Max Verstappen.
Yeah, a 3-year deal.
Which is obviously a lot more than what he's getting at the moment with Red Bull.
Yeah.
So only time will tell what he'll do with that. We don't know. But I mean, he was in some pretty awkward meetings the other week. So.
Yeah.
Clearly something's going on behind the scenes, I think, with Verstappen and his future. So that's the first really we've seen of it.
Yeah, it looks like Aston Martin might be the place for him, because obviously if he's getting offered that much, I don't think Mercedes are gonna match that. So
yeah,
we'll have to see what happens with that.
He's just going following Edge and New Year round.
Basically, and I don't blame him.
It'd be a good career move, I think.
Yeah.
Because think that car, and give it a couple of years, it's gonna be very good.
Okay, so we're gonna start now with the race rankings. Gonna start where we always start, with the Racing Bulls.
Yeah.
Pretty good race for him, to be fair. He only got 1 point.
It's pretty average across the board.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll take the 1 point. Hadjar, obviously the one to score the points. He's got a 3.5 from me, so very strong.
I've given him 3 stars. I agree, it was a very strong race, but I don't think it's as strong as he has been at the moment. I think qualifying let him down a little bit, because usually he's a really good qualifier.
Yeah.
But yeah, he finished 10th, obviously got points for them, which is a common theme going now. He always seems to be the point scorer. But yeah, I've given him 3 stars. Nothing special, but I think he had a pretty solid race.
Okay. Liam Lawson obviously finishing P12. Picked up another 10-second penalty. Seems to be a theme that he keeps doing. But overall, it's the best race he's had this season. So yeah. I've given him 3 stars. I think it's very respectable.
So I was going to give him 3 stars, but then he got the penalty. And then it's like, I watched his racing, to be fair. I thought he had a good qualifying, pretty much kept position, finished 12th. So I thought he had a good race, but it is just little snags like that of getting a penalty again. Just have a clean race and get a good finish. But we've still not got it yet. So I've given him 2 stars. I mean, it's better than what I've rated him so far.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
No, that is definitely the best race he's had this season. So yeah, I'm sure they're pretty happy with this weekend, the 1 point.
Yeah. I mean, he out-qualified Hadjar, so I'm sure he was very happy with that.
Lawson, obviously, he needed that, really.
Yeah.
Haas, pretty average weekend from them. Nothing dramatically bad, nothing special, nothing dramatically good, just bang average. No points. A 2.5 for Behrman. What have you given?
I've also given him a 2.5, actually. I think, again, similar to what I've said about Hadjar, we've seen some pretty good stuff coming from us over the past couple of weeks, and I think this week was a little bit off, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Qualifying wasn't brilliant as to what it has been, so a pretty average race again, so I've given him 2.5.
Okay. I've also given Ocon a 2.5, because I'm pretty I think they basically just had the same race. They were literally
I agree. It was
nowhere together, really.
I've also given him 2.5.
Okay, not much to say on that, really.
They both just sort of matched each other.
Yeah.
They didn't have a terrible weekend, but
they
didn't really do much of it.
A quiet race for Haas, hence why they get right down the middle, 2.5. Okay, moving on to the Saubers. Obviously in the horrible, struggling position that they're in.
Yeah, it's not good.
Again, another stinker. The car's just not there. I've given Bortoleto a 2 star.
So I was going to give him more, but then he had a little bit of a messy one with Alonso.
He did. He had a little.
So I've took one off it because I don't. It's hard. Like they're obviously not doing very well. So I've given him a 1 star because I mean he basically finished last.
Yeah.
Obviously with the DNF. So nothing really special going on. I think qualifying obviously wasn't good, so he set off on the wrong foot, and obviously it's not really done much with it. A couple of like little things in the race, like nearly ramming Alonso off the track.
Yeah.
So I've given him 1 star.
Okay. I'll give Hulkenberg a 2.5 star because I think he was a little bit better than Bortoleto, but still not great.
Yeah, I agree he was a lot better than Bortoleto in performance-wise, and obviously a lot better than last weekend. Bless him. So I've given him 2 stars. I think overall, you know, you can always count on Hulkenberg for having a pretty solid race, so I think he's definitely brought it back.
Yeah. He's the perfect driver to have in that team.
Yeah, definitely. So 2 stars.
Yeah. Okay. Alpine, a stinker all round. Obviously, they had chance of points with Gasly, but that quickly came to an end on lap 1. Jack Doohan, a 1.5 star. I think this might be it. I don't think we'll see him in Miami, in my opinion.
Do you not think? Do you think they're going to make the call this week?
I think so. I think before the next race, he's out.
Has anything come out about it so far?
Not since the start of the season. It's just my opinion. I just think he's not proven himself at all.
I just don't think they will, though, because it's Oliver Oaks, isn't it, the team principal? Yeah. He came out a couple of weeks ago and said, like, basically put the rumours to bed a little bit and said, like, Doohan's pretty good at blocking out the noise from the outside.
Yeah.
So it's hard. You don't really know where it's going, but obviously performance-wise and what we learnt at the start of the season, it makes sense for him not to finish it with Alpine.
Yeah.
He did all right last week, didn't he? But there's just nothing. It's just not
no
consistent.
points.
There's nothing coming.
What have you
unfortunately. So I've given him 1 star. He's just didn't really do anything this weekend.
Yeah.
Didn't really hear from him. It is unfortunate though.
He was one of the few drivers that tried the pitting on lap 1 and under the safety car going into hards, and it just didn't work.
Yeah, no.
Wasn't the right strategy, but yeah, a poor race from Doohan again. It's not looking good for him.
It's like it's just not clicking with him, is it? Unfortunately, it's like he tries and you see like good moments, and then it's just there's more bad than good. Unfortunately, at the moment.
And now we go on to Gasly.
I was actually really excited to see how it was
I
doing this
thought
weekend.
there was 8th, 9th, 10th on the cards for Gasly on Sunday in the race, but obviously him and Tsunoda have had a collision.
I know.
Not really anyone's fault particularly, but I've given Gasly a 1 star, and that's just purely on his qualifying.
I was so giddy to watch it as well because he's had back-to-back pretty good qualifyings, and I thought we're getting some good stuff from Gasly at the moment. So I was pretty giddy to see how he was going to do in the race, but obviously, unfortunately, I can't think of whose fault it was really. It was
none really, but it was more Gasly probably.
Yeah, I'd say Gasly, and then obviously he's clipped Tsunoda, and it's got a little bit messy.
Yeah.
But I thought Tsunoda was going to carry on really in that race.
It looked like he could have.
It looked like he was going to, but then obviously went into pits and they called off, so neither of them finished. But yeah, I've give Gasly a 2.5 solely on the qualifying because I thought we were in for like a blinder of a race as well, but obviously we've not got it. But I think he qualified really well when you look at his teammate.
Yeah.
So yeah, could have been good. Didn't get a chance.
Yeah, maybe next time he'll get back in the points because he's on good form.
Yeah, I was going to say it seems to be getting a lot better for him, so I can't imagine he's going to be terrible now. Looking forward, I think he's sort of getting it a little bit more, and we're seeing him is more consistent.
Yeah, we'll have to just see how it goes really. Aston Martin, another tough one.
Yeah, tough watch.
Another week of no points. Stroll, obviously, is in full Stroll
full
state.
Stroll mode.
1.5 for Stroll.
I've given him 1 star.
He was shit.
I don't understand what's going on with Aston Martin, because even for like Alonso to not be getting points is weird.
Yeah.
He never doesn't. He's always in the points.
I mean, he's had 11th back to back now, so he's just there or thereabouts. He's just outside.
Qualifying isn't really that good either, unfortunately.
Yeah.
For either of them, but yeah, I've given Stroll 1 star because it's just giving us nothing.
Yeah.
Like, come on, you can do better than this. The thing is, with this whole deal with Aston Martin and Verstappen, obviously, it's inevitably probably going to be Alonso.
That he gets that,
yeah. But like, what are they doing with Stroll?
I don't know.
How long are they going to put up with this for before it gets boring?
That's a conversation for another day.
Because when Verstappen comes in, and he's going to want a championship and a constructors, they're not going to get it if Stroll's there.
Yeah, that's true. You know, you're probably not going to win the constructors with Lance Stroll.
You're winning the constructors on your own.
Yeah. Okay, Alonso, I've given him a 3-star. I think it was a really good race, and obviously just unfortunate to finish 11th, especially back to back. It's just a shame, really.
I've given him 2 stars. It's literally been the same as I say about him for like the past couple of weeks now. It's just you do expect more from Alonso, and it's like performance is just not really giving us anything.
Yeah.
You can see that he's trying, I suppose, in that car, but he's just not doing anything. You're not getting anything out of it, really.
There's not much to get. I think he's getting the most out of it, but it's just there's not that much in it.
Can't really do much more with it.
No.
It's like a similar situation with a couple at the moment. Like you can only do so much until you look at the car and you think, well, I tried.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty tough time for Aston Martin at the moment. Hopefully it'll pick up, but they could have a stinker in the constructors this year.
Yeah, I think
he's on the cards.
I honestly think they're the 9th fastest car at the minute, and it's not looking good.
Yeah.
But obviously, they're all in on 2026, which is understandable.
But if they're offering £264 million out to Verstappen, I hardly doubt not getting that much money from the constructors this year is going to do them any harm. Oops.
Yeah, okay. Red Bull. Don't really know how to feel about this week. I think it's a good weekend for Red Bull, but they have they're getting caught by Ferrari. They haven't gained on Mercedes, so they're in a bit of a... You know what I mean? It almost looks like they are surrendering to 4th in the constructors, which I couldn't tell you the last time they finished that low.
They're in a bit of an awkward spot, really, aren't they?
Yeah. So Tsunoda actually had a decent qualifying. Where did he qualify? Was it 8th? Yeah. Not bad. Obviously had his crash with Gasly. I've given him a 1.5, and that's solely on qualifying. Yeah.
So similar. I've given him a 2 stars on the qualifying because same as what I thought of Gasly. Because obviously we've seen such a struggle with that second car, with him qualifying 8th, I thought we were in for a pretty good race.
Yeah.
You know, if he stays within the top 10, he can do a little bit of sifting around. You don't know where he'd have finished. So I thought that was more or less his best qualifying, and I thought we were going to see like a pretty good race from him, but obviously it didn't end up that way, didn't finish. So 2 stars on qualifying alone.
Yeah.
But hopefully he sticks with that sort of
It seems like
qualifying.
He does suit that seat more than Lawson has.
Yeah,
I don't. It just feels like Tsunoda's at home. He just sounds more comfortable. I don't know.
And you can tell he's getting what he's giving out of the car, kind of thing. Like obviously with Lawson, it wasn't gelling at all, and he couldn't do anything with the car. Whereas Tsunoda's clearly whatever he's doing at the moment, it's improving and then improving again.
Yeah.
So if he keeps going at that rate, he could be right behind Verstappen.
Definitely.
We'll just have to wait and see.
Okay, Verstappen. What a race. Dare I say it, had that penalty not have occurred, he would have won. But that's easy to say in hindsight. I've given him a 4.5. I think it was brilliant for him to finish second today.
I've given him 4 stars, which now seems a little bit harsh, but I think obviously qualifying was stunning. He had a really good qualifying.
Really
I
good.
took the point off him because of that penalty, which by the way is really harsh, I think.
I think they should have swapped the positions.
Did you done that any other time?
And got on with it. I don't think the 5-second penalty was necessary because they could have swapped them. Obviously, they didn't swap them, so I guess it was
right at the start of the race as well. It wasn't really affecting.
Yeah.
But as well, obviously you got asked about it, and I mean Max Verstappen doesn't like press at the best of times anyway. But obviously he was like, I don't want to talk about it. But then it's come out like FIA, you can now potentially get fined for talking bad about the decisions.
That's crazy.
It's going in a very weird way with them.
Political.
I don't really get. It's getting really political and just a bit awkward. Like, because that's one that I've seen over the past week is that now you can get in trouble for basically just bad mouthing the decisions.
Yeah.
Which I think is ridiculous though, because naturally if you get in
you're not going to be
grid
happy
penalty,
even
you're
if
going
you
to be like,
it.
what?
Yeah.
And especially in Max Verstappen's, and even Hulkenberg last week, like when things like that happen, which are a bit harsh or just haven't quite worked out, you're going to be a little bit irritated. So I just don't really understand the way that's going at the moment, but they need to
fix that.
Yeah, something so harsh.
I know.
Just killing the fun.
Okay, Mercedes. I would say pretty solid. It's just average. I think they needed... This is the bare minimum Mercedes should be given, really. Like it's not a bad race. It's nothing special. Yeah. It's just they're standing their ground, second in the constructors. If they want to get it, this is the performances they need to put in. These kind of performances need to be the bare minimum. Of what they need to be putting in.
Yeah.
So Antonelli, pretty lonely race, just ahead of Hamilton, but behind the top 5.
Yeah.
I've given him a 3-star.
I've also given him 3 stars. I think he did okay. With Antonelli though, he's pretty good at like kind of matching Russell.
Yeah. He's just
and I
a bit
think that
off.
is what's put them above, obviously, Red Bull now with the constructors, because they pretty much match each other on, like, they're not really far behind each other, are they? And vice versa, which is why they get so many points. But yeah, I've given him 3 stars. I think he had a pretty decent race, but you know, he's pretty capable of doing that. So
yeah. He's going to only get quicker as well, you got to think, as the
I'm
year goes
excited
on.
to see how it goes with him.
Russell, I've given him a 3.5, just a bit more than Antonelli, because obviously he was in the mix for the podium. It unfortunately fell away due to Norris and Leclerc on better tyres, really.
I really thought he was going to get on pole as well.
Yeah.
I really did think he had a really, really good qualifying.
His qualifying is really helping him this year.
On that last 2 minutes, I was like, oh, surely he's done that. Because it's like, for like the last 3 cars, obviously Piastri, Verstappen and Russell, like each one of them was like a tiny fraction like quicker than each other, and I thought surely someone else is not going to do
Russell's
it.
Russell's going to do it, but
he lost
obviously
it.
not. Fell to 3rd.
Yeah, and then obviously dropped back again in the race with 5th. So I've given him 3.5 stars. Also, he's so unlucky at the moment. He must be the most unlucky driver on that track.
Why is that?
Because it's just always seems to be something going wrong with his car.
Yeah, he had a tyre problem, didn't he?
Yeah, but that's just been the thing for years now. Like, just when you don't expect it, something's not wrong with Russell's car.
Yeah, he is unlucky. Yeah, I think in terms of the constructors though, it's a good result, and I think I know I've already said it, but I'm waffling a bit. But I think Russell's consistency and Antonelli's like ability of he's just a bit behind, but he's still there, is such a perfect dynamic for the constructors. There's no McLaren beef where they're knocking each other, you know, off and taking points of each other.
Yeah.
There's no like Red Bull where the second driver doesn't score. They have a perfect dynamic which is propelling them forward. And Russell's the only driver to finish in the top 5 every race this year.
Their dynamic
in
as well
every
is
single race.
like what Red Bull are chasing.
Yeah.
It's like what they want, really.
Basically,
obviously, they can't get it, especially when obviously you're at that top half of the grid in the constructors where everything counts.
Yeah.
But they're a really good team at the moment, I think. Like you were saying, the dynamic is just perfect.
Okay, Williams. Speaking of good dynamics.
Yeah, we had actually good weekend.
What a race for Williams this was. Both drivers in the points. 8th and 9th.
Yeah.
These are the perfect results, man. If you want 5th in the constructors, these are the results we've got to be doing, and they worked as a team.
Yeah. I will also say, best strategy of the season so far.
Yeah, it was
I think it worked seamlessly.
It was beautiful. Albon, obviously, finishing P9. I've given him a 3.5.
I have also given him a 3.5. Amazing race. I think they work so well together, that race as well. Obviously, the strategy. Do you want to explain? You'll explain it better than I will, in your terms.
Okay, so situation was, Sainz was 8th, Albon was 9th. There was a couple of seconds in it. And Hadjar was catching on fresh tyres in 10th. He definitely would have passed both of the Williams and they would have finished 9th and 10th. But they came on the radio to Sainz, asked him to allow Albon into his DRS.
Yeah.
And then they said to Albon, don't overtake Sainz, stay in his DRS to keep Hadjar behind. And they did that for the last 15 to 20 laps.
Perfect.
And they both had nothing Hadjar could do. And they stayed in 8th and 9th. And obviously they gained 6 points that race. And had they not done that, it would have only been 3.
And that is what McLaren should look at.
Yeah.
Between, like, there's no overtaking each other. There's saying to Sainz, like, you've rightfully deserved your position you're in at the moment.
Yep.
If you can hold it, we'll keep Albon behind and then we'll stop you from getting overtaken. And it just worked.
It did. It kept Hadjar behind, and even Hadjar even said, had it been 2 different teams, he would have probably finished 8th today.
Yeah.
But obviously he said, that's how it goes sometimes.
But it was perfect. So then I've also given Sainz a 4 star, a little bit more, because obviously finished ahead of
I've
Albon.
given him
And
4 as
the
well.
team strategy, he was very much like, let me cook, I will do that. Qualifying, beautiful.
Yeah, what was it, 6th?
Yeah.
Wow.
Amazing. This is what we've wanted from Sainz.
He's
clicked. He has
finally
clicked.
clicked.
Please keep it up for the next race. You can do this.
To see both Williams cars in the points is a beautiful thing. So, yeah.
Prayers have been answered.
Finally, Sainz has clicked with the car.
Definitely.
And obviously, this Williams is good. And even if they don't finish 5th in the constructors, I think they're looking strong for 6th.
Yeah.
Which I actually predicted at the start of the season.
You did. They looked really happy as well,
Yeah.
coming out of this weekend. So I think good things are coming.
I like where they are at the minute. I like
Yeah,
the
me
trajectory that Williams are on. It's looking really good. Okay, let's go on to McLaren. Obviously, it seems to be the hot topic every single week now, McLaren. with the situation they're in. Oscar Piastri drove a great race, no denying that.
Yeah, I agree.
Could argue maybe, he got a little bit lucky with the whole 5-second penalty when they could have inverted the cars. But it happens. So I'll give Piastri a 4-star. I think it was a strong race. He kept up, for the most part, with Verstappen in the first stint and then didn't let him get too close in the second stint. So 4-star.
I've also given him 4 stars. I think he drove a pretty solid race, obviously won. Qualifying was pretty decent. I think they're doing... I will say that, I think Piastri's performance is better than Norris's in the car. I don't know. I just feel like he's a bit more consistent.
Definitely.
Clearly now, because he's ahead of Norris in the championship. So I've given him 4 stars. I think I would have probably given him that 5 and give him a bit more respect on the win if you didn't have that grid penalty from Verstappen, because obviously Verstappen is a challenge, and I think that made it a lot easier for him to win this race. So 4 stars.
But he also only won the race by 3 seconds. If he'd have won it by 10 seconds, it could have been. You got to think of that.
You don't know.
Norris, I've given him a 3-star. Obviously, he had his qualifying woe, which is... You don't really want to be doing that when you're in a title fight. You can't really afford to do that, because now, obviously, he's put himself on the back foot going into the race. And he's finished just outside the podium. So, obviously, not a bad recovery in the race. Could have been better, but also could have been worse. Yeah, I've given him a 3-star.
Yeah, so I've given him 3.5. I give him a little bit more because, obviously... qualifying was terrible. You expect more in that car. Yeah. But I think he did pretty much make his way around the grid and sort of redeem himself. To get to 4th from 10th when it's so close up at the front, I think was pretty respectable. So yeah, 3.5 for Norris.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting little season we've got going on here.
What are you thinking about next week? Do you think he's going to win Miami again? Do you think he's going to go in and be like, yeah, it's my race?
I think he needs to. I think he needs, because he's obviously he won the first race of the season and that's it. He's had a pretty quiet 4 races now.
Do you think the pressure's getting to him a little bit? Do you
Definitely.
think that is the case of that?
I think he's feeling it. I think because, and I almost think it makes it worse how composed Piastri is. I think that irritates him. That would irritate me.
Because Piastri I very much understand that his mindset going into all this, he doesn't really bother him that much. He just drives.
Even in the first race when he obviously spun out and then ended up finishing 9th, he was so composed and it's fine, we'll go again. And obviously he's leading the championship now. Makes you wonder though, if he didn't have that spin at Australia and he'd have finished 2nd, he would have been miles ahead in the championship now. So yeah, Ferrari. I guess it's a good weekend, first podium of the season.
Yeah.
You take it. They've gained a little bit on Red Bull.
Yeah, definitely.
So they obviously
better than they have been.
Yeah, I think they're coming for Red Bull, and they are eventually going to take 3rd in the constructors. But for now, there's a certain driver in the Ferrari team that isn't pulling his weight. So let's get into that. Lewis Hamilton, 7th.
Qualified 7th as well.
Yeah, he's got to be doing better. Sorry, but we're 5 races in now, and he has been
terrible. Just give it us nothing.
He's been terrible.
Yeah, I don't understand it either. He's got 2.5 stars off me. Again, it's you just expect more from drivers like that in the team that you're in. Look around yourself and look who you are. Yeah. Surely you're going to deliver more than that. Especially when there's such a hype around it and such an expectation. I mean, maybe we all expected a bit too much, but
I don't know. I think Ferrari, you expect a guy of that, stature. Race 1, you should be there picking it up.
Yeah, I don't understand it. So 2.5 stars until he gets a podium.
Yeah. And he obviously had his sprint win, which was pretty sick, but apart from that, nothing. He's just he's below average. You know what I mean? There's no P4s coming in, P3s coming in where you can be that's a good race. That
the car's clearly not terrible either, because the Leclerc is clearly doing something with it.
He's making the most of it. Yeah.
So I don't really understand what's going wrong for Hamilton. I don't know.
I've given him a 2-star. What have you given?
I'd give him 2.5.
2.5. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, he needs to pick it up, and to be honest, I doubt that he's going to. I think this might just be where he's at now, because we saw it last year with Mercedes. He weren't really there. He had a couple of good races, but that was it. You
just got to think he's very into his career now. He's old.
Over the hill.
Definitely. So I don't think we're going to see amazing things from him, but you also do sort of hold him to that. Where it's you got the skills to do it. Clearly, you can't have lost it that much.
It is just one of them. Maybe it is just an age thing, and
we don't know.
It's just he used to be great, and now he's not. But Leclerc, potentially the race of the season for him so far.
Yeah, definitely.
Obviously, he got himself on the podium, held Norris behind him for the last 5 or 6 laps or whatever it was. Pretty impressive. I've given Leclerc a 4-star. Ferrari are on the up.
Yeah, when he qualified fourth, I did kind of think to myself, like, oh, he'll probably finish like 5th or 6th. I don't know. I didn't really expect him to do much with that.
Yeah.
But he actually obviously ended up having a podium in 3rd.
Yeah, Ferrari give him a good strategy.
Exactly, and they never do that. They always mess that up. So I've given him 4 stars because I think he actually had a really good race and, you know, cooked with his He qualified in a good position and held it.
He was quick, which
definitely
is what we want to see.
And it's like you haven't really expected the Ferrari to be quick over the past few races because like everyone sort of perceived it as a terrible car, which it's clearly not.
Yeah, it's there now. It seems like they're sorting the shit out now.
Yeah, definitely.
And obviously if they bring in an upgrade soon and whatever, then that'll propel them even further. But yeah, I think Red Bull need to check the mirrors because Ferrari are coming for them.
Yeah, definitely.
This could be a tough season for Red Bull.
Because if they get better now, the Ferraris, Red Bull's screwed.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to be able to
Red
do
Bull
much more.
having to firm 4th in the constructors, and the top 3 teams will probably keep extending away from them.
They're probably really like happy with themselves at the moment that obviously Ferrari haven't got it because obviously it's 2 more people that are in front of you inevitably. So
yeah, for sure. Okay, that was our Saudi Arabia race rankings. It was a good race. Next is Miami with a sprint, so that's interesting.
Who was your driver of the day?
My driver of the day, I'm going to say Max Verstappen.
Oh, that's actually quite a good one, yeah.
What about you?
I will say... Sainz.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, I'm going to give it to Sainz. I think he's given us what we wanted now, and he seemed pretty content with it, so I like that. It sort of gelled this week, because when did he finish the last race? Did he not finish 2?
I think
or was it 3?
I think it might have been 2 in a row that he did it again.
At least he finished.
He did. He finished finished higher than Albon as well.
Yeah, so he's my driver of the day.
Yeah, I like that one. That's a good one. Okay, thank you for listening. We'll be back in a couple of weeks.
Definitely.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.